Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, January 23, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, around 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there or be square. That's an old one. Your essence, your essential joy, is so huge that it flows in every direction. The mala. Very true. Sometimes we forget that the most important place we can turn for answers is inside ourselves. The outside, the outer world, lends or tends to captivate us, tantalize us, and coerce us to lose our inner direction with its materialistic importance and superficial psychodramas. We can become emotionally captured by these experiences and feel completely disconnected from the safe, soothing resource of our inner world. The mind can become so involved in the external that we fall blind to the truth of the radiant sacred beings we actually truly are. We get clouded. How do you identify, watch someone without judgment to know that they are ego mind controlled? All by how their actions, by their speech, what they claim. It's a dead giveaway for any of us to know that as you watch people, you can, and it's a teacher for us, so it's not a negative. And you see them and interact and in different responses, but you can pick up the fact that they're heavily controlled by the ego mind. It's like anybody that you come across that claims this, claims that, has to announce it to other people, is controlled by the ego mind. Absolutely 100% of the time. And then their actions tell you also. Now, the most enlightening path to liberation is the one that is the most sustainable and always available from within. This approach has stopped the search in the outer world for real fulfillment and knows there is no greater source of true satisfaction than the one that exists within. I believe that it's the incessant searching of the mind which causes us not to see. We are not seeing the divine sacred beings we truly are because we are following the mind's perpetual wanting, yearning, and desiring habit. The more time we give for appreciating what is in our lives, accepting and loving the people who share our lives with us, the wanting program that had caused internal blindness slowly starts to fade out of our lives. As long as the mind is directed outwards, which is the majority of us on this planet in this very now, our energy continues to flow away from our center, away from deep inner peace, and the stillness where all real sustainable answers to this life are found. The truly liberated being is the one who has chosen to give up the perpetual search for happiness out there and lives only at the source of their pure spiritual essence, which is always available within. When we turn our attention to the real source itself, the energetic blackboard behind our inner world, the essential roots of love, thought, and creativity become the real gold. When we discover the possibility of stopping the mind from its addiction to needing something outside itself to be satisfied, we discover the greatest world of freedom and empowerment has always, always, always been inside. Where there is awareness, there is the potential for healing and spiritual freedom. In each moment, we can become aware where we are focusing our attention. Is it now on my inner world or my outer world? You can begin to ask that of yourself all the time. Okay, so where's my attention? Is it of my inner world or is it of my outer world at this time? And if it is of your outer world, then you could very easily shift gears into your inner world. Eventually, all of us, with enough awareness, we will see they are the same, and there is only one world. However, mind is very conditioned and accustomed to perceiving a separation, focusing on the outer world for the causes of manifestation and fulfillment. It doesn't want to take 100% responsibility for the uncomfortable feelings that can be hiding in its basement. When we bring more awareness to where the source of the mind is coming from, where our outer world is truly manifesting from inside ourselves, we slowly start to see we have total responsibility over the manifestations in our lives. By not judging, but simply accepting what we find on the journey towards the source of all thought, we eventually discover how to relax in this divine responsibility and bathe in the light of our being. The source of our spiritual essence begins to take precedence over the mind, and we relax into a deeper life experience. This is full of unlimited potentiality and freedom. Perhaps the most wonderful thing about this universe is that it is perpetually benevolent. It always gives us exactly what we need, especially when we don't realize what it is we truly need. Now, if and when we are only directing our attention towards the outer world, we burn out, and this universe leads us to retreat back into our inner world to reboot. The body and mind are programmed to find balance, peace, and healing. At some point, pendulum of this life will swing us back to stillness on its own accord. The stillness is the doorway to our ultimate creativity and God-given manifestation responsibility. This is the moment our real spiritual journey begins, and the unfulfilling, never-ending path to satisfying the ego comes to an end. And as Ramana Maharishi quoted, be always feeling and reflecting on the real being. Be that and cling close to it. Let your quest be constant and sustained until you catch the self and thereby find eternal happiness. A lot of people say, that's just crazy. There's no such thing as eternal happiness. Yeah, you could be happy here and there, but not all the time. Doesn't make sense. That's the ego mind. One of the greatest truths you may find thus far on the path to inner liberation is this. The soul, or spiritual being, who you actually are, is so huge, all-consuming, and deeply enlightening that ultimately it doesn't matter if you get whatever your ego wants or doesn't want. Your mind ego will always be trying to want something that it thinks will finally bring it to being completely fulfilled, satisfied. Problem is that it only knows how to want. It doesn't know how to relax, rest, and having, or pure being. However, the rabbit hole goes even deeper than that. For just recognizing the incessant desiring mind, habit is not the final answer to freedom here. The real freedom comes from knowing that when we do get whatever we want, we will also get what we don't want. Whenever we manifest any desire, we always get both. There is no single payoff from achieving any desire in this world. This does not also have a cost to it. Now, I'm not saying the cost is irreparable damage or pain and suffering. It's simple. You come into lots of money, okay? You've never had it before. It's a great feeling, wonderful, right? And then, when the smoke clears, so to speak, you start going into, how am I going to manage this? How am I going to protect it? Who can I trust? That's the flip side of it. Now, from my perspective, the flip side, to me, isn't a negative. It's a positive, but it's on the flip side of receiving all this money. So you say, okay, so this will teach me. I will learn from the flip side on how to do all these things. So people might people might say, okay, so when you focus on what you don't want, so what are you getting when you don't? What do you get? Well, you don't get that good part. Okay? You get the part that you didn't want, and then also what goes with it. That's the so-called flip side, which is even more so. This is how we get so caught in this life, of constantly bringing in more of things that we don't care, don't want to have. Okay? Now, when you look at things, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have your you buy your dream vehicle, right? But that's all you're thinking about. It's just great, boom, boom, wonderful, and everything. You're all excited. But you didn't cover all of it, all of the aspects. So then what comes in is that you have an insanely high monthly insurance rate and costly maintenance fees. So this is when I talk about when you go into meditation, you focus on the now through your breath, and you remain still as a statue, but in a comfortable position. You want to make sure that when you ask the universe or something, it's very detailed. Very detailed. You really spend a lot of time making sure before you send it out to the universe exactly. I's dotted, T's crossed. And you might think, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Not really. Because what you send to the universe, you're going to get. Okay? It's proof of fact. Any of us. None of us are exempt from it. Most of us fall into the ego mind, and so when we send something out to the universe, we get it because it's what we don't want. So we focus on what we don't want, mostly. Okay? A lot of us will focus on what we want, but then we feel guilty because we feel, and I've had a lot of people say this, we feel guilty because we don't believe we deserve it. Maybe it's too much. Maybe I'm asking for too much. So then when that happens, you negate it, and we bring in the more unfriendly. So it's like you have your dream car, but you say, okay, this universe, this is what I want, so you write it down, right? And you cover everything. That's why I talk about being detailed on it. You say, okay, so this is my dream car, so I want to make sure that I have the wherewithal to afford the insurance costs, maintenance costs, along with the dream vehicle. Because it may not be a car, it might be a truck, might be a plane, who knows? So that's the whole enchilada. So you then, in meditation, focusing on the now, listening to your breath, that's what you send out. So you cover those areas. But there's still hidden ones because you don't know. Maybe it's too fast for you, right? Maybe you are not confident to drive something that fast, that you didn't realize it was that fast until you experienced it. So there's things. There's things in there. But they're there to teach us that we learn. That's why it's so important that we don't half-ass it. We just, kind of, well, that's blah, and that's it. Now, it's like the weekend drinker who loves the party, but they always forget about the horrible hangover experience that will painfully consume their life the next morning. Now, when we discipline ourselves with daily exercise and get super strong and fit, we may only later discover we are becoming super stiff and tight from not integrating deep stretching exercises as well. When I was a fitness instructor, I would remind people to not just, you go in the gym and you just start working out, period. Whether it's in a gym, at your house, in the basement, somewhere. And that's not good. You want to stretch. Stretch your legs, stretch. And you don't have to go into a huge hour-long stretching. But and then read about stretching. Read about stretching the different tendons and muscles and flexors, and you'd be amazed on what happens. Then you begin your workout. I had so many people injure themselves because they omitted it. Every time I said, first thing first, stretch. Stretch the body, stretch the legs. Stretch the arms, the fingers, stretch the neck. Do it, stretch the body. Release the endorphins and the energies. So things flow. Even when we think we have found our perfect dream life, there's always going to be a need for a feeling of what? Gratitude about it all. See, a lot of people will have a wonderful, they'll have a wonderful life, but they forget about being grateful for it because they figure, I have this wonderful life now. What do I need to be grateful for? I already have it. I'm not kidding you. And that's what, that we forget or we don't. I don't need to be grateful anymore. I've been grateful, and that's why I manifested this. The key is to be deeply grateful 24/7, always. Always. No matter if you lost a pen writing it, and you really wanted you just wanted that pen because you liked it and everything. And it shows up. The pen shows up. So what we do is by staying in a deep gratitude about everything, to keep the mind happy, peaceful, and at a higher vibration so we can evolve and manifest an even more amazing experience of life next year. Now, some of us, this understanding, may initially make life feel hopeless. Yet I assure you, it is the doorway to absolute freedom beyond it all. Always getting both, what we want, what we don't want, is one of the most enlightening and deeply liberating spiritual paths to explore. When we realize that this life is always going to be a break-even, win-lose experience with every desire we go after, we start to relax about the whole game and drop into something deeper inside. In the beginning, this dropping in can feel like apathy, thinking, what's the point of it all if we always get what we want and what we don't want, and never only just the goodies? Yet, this feeling will soon fall away when we see that the nature of desire, not having, is pure suffering. And that inner peace with desire actually manifest our desires much more easily, then the great ride of life becomes enjoyable along the way. When we understand that every single time we manifest any desire, we get both and what we want and don't want, we stop becoming so attached to making our dreams manifest. We stop trying to manipulate and control this life so as if to get it to flow our way. We stop being so greedy, needy, and full of selfish egoic agendas. Because we know there's a lot of people on this planet that are like that. Then there arises this feeling of sweet surrender to the grand totality of this life, the majesty of our being, and the simple awareness of this profound truth. We gently begin to relax into our spiritual nature and thus become a more powerful manifesting magnet for everything our hearts desire. Now, it may seem that life's problems may be complicated, yet the answers are always very simple. You see, all of it, every bit of it, is for us to experience. That's all it is. When we get to the point where we know that these bodies are temporary and that we're in supreme deep gratitude 24/7 because we have the opportunity to experience it. This universe is full of mystery and paradox. And when we let go on wanting something, we become a stronger magnet for receiving it. People go, oh, I know that. Yeah, shoot, I know that. But they really don't. Because they don't practice it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just said, you know what? I'm not going to focus on this anymore. I'm not going to obsess with it. You know, it'd be wonderful in the event it came into my life. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And it would be wonderful if it didn't. Now, it does seem backwards. A lot of people say, well, that seems backwards. You would believe that, well, I should concentrate more on it, think more about it, and then I'm more assured of getting it. Have you ever noticed that when you do that, it seems to push it away further and further and further? And you get more and more frustrated? And you go, what the heck's going on here? It seems backwards, yet it happens every time. When we relinquish attachment to something, that something just wants to fall into our lap. You may find the most enlightened approach to dealing with attachment to a desire is knowing that once the desire is manifested, we must choose to be emotionally prepared to receive the opposing negative byproduct as well. This doesn't mean we cannot or should not celebrate the attainment of our goal in an outrageous way. In fact, it's best that we give it our all. Do a total let go and fall deep into appreciation, because this increases our joy vibration and ability to growing stronger as a powerful manifesting magnet. And as we let go into total full self-expression, we can rise even higher into ecstatic bliss, because we know that very soon the annoying negative flip side to things will arise and bring everything back to an even neutral balance. This life is like a gambling casino where we always win whatever we bet. You bet $5, you get $5 back each time. There is always an even outcome, a perfect balance to this life, which makes everything fair in the end. Karmically, we always get whatever we put into our lives. You've heard this before. Maybe you said it yourself. Some life is unfair, right? Life sucks. Yet life actually is completely fair. Everything balances itself out in the end. We simply either choose or not choose to look for the rainbow when we're drowning in the rainstorm. There is always a brilliant wave of light underneath every dark underflow of fear. This universe was set up this way so we could remain neutral, relaxed. The awareness that is at the center of our being, which subsequently is also the center of this entire universe. The trick to this life is to be continually alert to the new, because nothing is ever as it seems. You ever said that to yourself? Nothing is ever as it seems. Or you've used this one, it's an old one. You can't ever judge a book by its cover. And nor do we care to judge. We can think a person is a certain rigid way our whole lives, right? Have you ever done this? Maybe you've experienced it already. Only at the end to realize that they had a hidden flexible part that we could never see. It is how we see things that makes them what they are. Our perception of people, colors, and taints them, yet does not come close to the truth of their grand totality. Everyone is a permanent grand mystery to be experienced and explored. When we hold this understanding as sacred, our relationships and communications with others unfold in a much more enlightening way. Once we become conscious about this perpetual balanced nature of duality, the incessant desiring game will completely subside. Then we are eased into a nesting area of true relaxation within our hearts and lives. Here, we can experience the grace and joy of our divinity, the healing quality of our being. We can discover real freedom, our true essence, and our essential nature. Some of us discover that this life is here to challenge us because we create it. At times in meditation, do you ever say to yourself, what if there were no challenges in this life? That everything I desired came to me 24/7. Never had any bumps, never had any challenges, never had any quick turns around the corner. What would that be like? Well, at first it'd be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't take long, though, that after a short period of time, I believe we would all say, man, is this boring. Even though that way before that, we were telling ourselves, man, would that be great. That would be absolutely wonderful to have a life like that. Right? And then when we get it, we go, oh boy. It was fun at the beginning, but now it's just gotten monotonous. Now, our lives are meant to be dangerous so that we don't fall asleep at the wheel and take this amazing world for granted. It is the scariest ride and the most exhilarating one we will ever be on. It is in our darkest hours of this life that we simply need to learn how to relax. Let go of our agenda. Realize that the light is always on at the end of the tunnel. Our real challenge is to learn how to do this every day, trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly as it should for our soul's highest evolution in consciousness. And when we accept this divine challenge, we stop resisting this opportunity to grow and take it on as an enlightening adventure. Now, when you decide that you would like to experience being truly unstoppable in your life, learn how to increase your consciousness and expand your energy by tapping into a higher vibration of belief in yourself. You won't care so much if things go exactly as planned. Instead, you'll just continue to do what inspires you and lifts your vibration. There is a way you can turn up your energy so high that nothing can get in your way. It starts with a commitment to yourself that you will keep sacred for the rest of your life. This isn't a short stint. This commitment is to be kind to yourself gentle with you, and never come down hard on yourself, no matter what. Follow this one sweet little secret for even a few weeks in a row, and you'll start increasing your vibration to attract, create, and manifest everything your heart desires. Through the years, I have watched people belittle themselves, cut themselves down over the most silly things. And remember, we're just observers, right? You can do anything that you want to do, anything you desire. Anything. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or believes. Doesn't matter. What's the primer that sets it all, brings it all together? Trust in you, confidence in you, faith in you. At first, it's a little, let's just put it this way. It's an area that most of us don't go. So when we do go there, you don't feel that comfortable with it at first. As Robert Adams quoted, always remember deep in your heart that all is well and everything is unfolding as it should. There are no mistakes anywhere at any time. What appears to be wrong is simply our own false imagination. That's all. That's it. When you're confronted with things, we all are, maybe this day or that day, whatever. We're always confronted with certain things that come up. Now, it's not like we're expecting them to come up, right? So what you discover is that when you just leave it alone, put the intent out there unobstructed, and just leave it alone, it will come together for you every single time. I would suggest, I do this off and on, I do it. Every couple of days. Let your mind ponder about one basic idea. Everything is perfect in this universe and exactly as it should be. The only imperfections that exist are those created by the mind. I believe we'd all agree that everything is either a misguided projection or a highly creative interpretation, a decorated perception of perfection forming in our brains. Meditating on this one simple truth will liberate us from many years of suffering. Everything is perfect as it is. All imperfections that we see are imaginary. And if and when we can dwell on this concept and hold on to it for even a few minutes, we will notice that we will start to feel lighter, have more inner clarity, and a sense of spiritual freedom throughout our day. Abiding in this understanding opens up 1,001 doorways to the divine. We will automatically begin living a life that is empowered, awakened, and feels more harmonious. We can liberate ourselves from 99% of our daily suffering just by respecting this one simple truth. So it's a good idea to get really curious about it and to understand its deeper meaning. Explore the feeling how everything actually is always perfect in this universe exactly as it is. And the longer we can feel into this experience and assimilate it into our body, the more blissed out we will feel every day along the way. It's a good thing to know that as we enlighten ourselves, we are also helping to enlighten everyone else on this planet. How else are we going to advance, flourish, expand, grow, evolve? This is the only way. Numerous other ways throughout existence have been attempted, but have gone nowhere. It's a full circle. It will always bring you back to this. No matter what is happening in your outer world, in your relationships, internet, family, work, whatever it may be, realizing that everything around you is happening for one specific reason: to awaken you to your spiritual nature. Everything is about our spiritual nature, first and foremost. Not our physical material. It's our spiritual nature. And that we know what this means for all of us? It means opening you, healing you, making you more conscious, alive, and available to the living flow of energy that is perpetually moving through you. Everything in this universe is happening for you and not to you. We're here to wake up and remember that who we truly are is an infinite spiritual being. That's it. Having an occasional limited time-bound experience of being human. An occasional time limited. When we discover our spiritual foundation, the experience that we are all powerful super-manifesting beings becomes evident and obvious. The universe blasts synchronicities at us, unveiling the truth that we are all one unified being, connected to the same cosmic source. So when you hear about the God, right? The God, worshiping the God, bowing to the God. All of us are the God. Okay? We are all one. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. When, because we will discover our spiritual foundation, the experience that we are all powerful super-manifesting beings becomes evident and obvious. Who we are is not just human. Human is temporary. We have the God-given manifestation power within us to create, attract, and magnetize anything we can dream of. That's it. That's the truth about all of us. Notice that whatever any of us place our focus or attention on is what we manifest into our lives, even if you're not aware of it. This is a real simple experiment. Just When you focus on thoughts that make you happy, empowered, abundant, and free, you will attract more people and situations that mirror those positive, joyful experiences back to you. Every single time we are truly absolute, much more powerful than the mind can even come close to comprehending. We are such powerful beings that there is nothing we cannot manifest into this physical dimension. The mind is too small, too limited, too conceptual, and too narrow-minded to digest the immensity of who we are. Only the heart is big enough, excuse me, to tap into the immensity of our being. And still, it will fall short as well. Our spiritual essence is without borders in time, space, or energy. We are timeless, metaphysical magicians sailing through an eternal ocean of time and energy. We are one with the infinity. This meeting is the unveiling of our true spiritual essence. By taking responsibility for this meeting inside, our real power begins to emerge in our lives. We naturally begin attracting and creating everything our heart was dreaming about. We will all find out that there is an unlimited source of energy, creativity, love, lightness, and compassion inside. We will immediately start experiencing how truly enjoyable this life actually is. Now, this makes it so much easier to surrender to the magical manifesting mindset. We see our real mission here is to be stress-free, to deeply fall in love with our lives, and to trust this world so deeply that we truly let go of all of our fears. With nothing to fear, we become a brilliant light for everyone on this earth to enjoy. By joining in meditation, I'll return to close us out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Notice what happens when you are not attached to doing it the right way or avoiding doing it the wrong way. How do you feel? Be present to what is presenting itself here. Listen to the divine direction that is pointing you to go. Understand there is a divine guidance system beneath it all. This higher guidance is always directing us towards our soul's highest possible evolution. And it's so good to simply relax into what is. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, at 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you.